You ready? I love love stories. I love love, and I love true love stories because movie love stories can get a little... Eric and I went to the same small private high school in Orange County, and I always knew who he was, but he did not know who I was. He claims to have sort of known my last name, but I don't believe him. I was a freshman and he was a senior. You know how the older kids at school always had this sort of mystique about them and they're way cooler even if they're not? And I saw him around and I just thought he was it. He was the bee's knees, the cat's meow, she says without blinking. Eric McNeely, to me, like, that name had such a ring to it. If I heard Eric McNeely, it like gave me this idea of who he was, even though I didn't know him at all. I just had this massive crush on him. And so I didn't talk to him at all in high school. I don't think I ever thought that I would ever talk to him. Flash forward years later, it was 2010 when I graduated college, and it was November, and I was at a Friendsgiving at one of my best friend's house, and I grabbed my friend's arm. I was like, is that Eric McNeely? I hadn't seen him since high school. I kind of just had this like image in my head, like he's just the coolest. Little did I know. So I was feeling kind of bold, I was feeling kind of sassy, so I went up to him and started talking to him, and I was flirting with him. I can be a little forward. I don't know if you kind of have gathered this from my personality, but he basically said he works with architects, so then I recommended a book to him, The Fountainhead, which is about architecture, and he bought it and read it, which is so funny because it's such an it's not an obscure book, but it's very long. During that time, my post-grad plans were to travel Europe and to get a job as an ESL teacher. That did not pan out, but I did find a job as an au pair in Italy, and you can watch this video that I made all about my time when I was a really terrible au pair, and this is why. I was all set and I was all planned to go to Italy for a year in January. So I met him in November and I had these plans, like, I'm gonna hook up with Eric McNeely. Eric McNeely. I had to keep like saying in my head, like, oh my gosh, Eric McNeely's talking to me. He probably thinks I'm so stupid. And then we're flirting on Facebook, and I like gave him my number. It's this move that I have where I just had guys. Ultimately, he called me. We went on our first date 2 weeks before I was supposed to go to Italy for a year. So in my head, I'm like, cool, we can hook up, I can go to Italy, I can have a great time, looking to party and have, you know, an unbridled time in my 20s in Europe. That did not go as planned because we hung out almost every single day during those 2 weeks up until my flight to Milan. And this is why. On our first date, we went to see True Grit. Now this was right before the very last Harry Potter movie was coming out, and before the movie there was a preview for it, and I turned to him and I said, I can't wait to see the last Harry Potter movie. And he's like, I've never seen Harry Potter or read any of the books. Of course, I was scandalized and I said, well, you should do a Harry Potter marathon. And he thought I said, we should do a Harry Potter marathon. So he said, cool, let's do it. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm leaving for Italy, but this guy's really hot and he wants to do a Harry Potter marathon with me. It was a phenomenal first date, and the very next day I went to his house, I met his mom and his dad. Oh, I miss his mom so much. She was so welcoming to me, and they had no idea that I was plant-based, or I was like more like plant-based at the time, and so I like ate the asparagus that I'm pretty sure were cooked in butter and just sort of like smiling like I'm in the McNeely's house. Like it was this weird high school fantasy being played out in real time. So then we watched all the Harry Potters. We went to go see the last one in theaters together. It was super fun. And then on our third date, he still hadn't kissed me, and I was really kind of baffled by this because we were running out of time. I only had less than 2 weeks now. So he said goodbye to me on our third date, and he like dropped me off at my house, and then he walked away, and I was like, really? Really? And he turned around and he's like, what? And I was like, you're not gonna kiss me? Are you serious? I'm going to Italy for a year. And he's like, I was nervous. I was gonna wait until Tuesday. I was like, why Tuesday? And then we kissed and it was great. Then it was becoming clearer and clearer that I wasn't fully satisfied just, you know, being physical with this guy. I actually really liked him, and we got along so perfectly. We kind of have very little in common. We see the world so differently. We could just talk for hours, and we had those moments where I didn't think they really existed, but these moments where you're staring into each other's eyes for like minutes just listening to music. We had a lot of those moments before my flight because we were like, I'm gonna miss you so much. One thing Eric Eric and I do have in common is we both have terrible eyes. Eric can't open his eyes all the way, and I am legally blind in my left eye. I only have peripheral vision. I don't have central vision. And this is one of the reasons why I have a lazy eye. I don't remember which one. I was made fun of it a lot as a kid. I've been wearing glasses ever since I was 3 years old, and I think Eric was the same. And it is about time for me to get a new pair, and so I'm going to talk about our sponsor today, who is Warby Parker. I'm sure you've heard of them before because they are kicking ass, basically. They're amazing. They're so cool because they make buying glasses so easy and seamless and not this big to do where you have to go to the glasses store and you're like trying on these frames. You're like, these aren't even cute. They have some really cool stylish frames, and the at-home try-on program is so seamless. What you do is you order 5 pairs of glasses and you have 5 days to try them on, ask friends, ask family, take photos, post on Instagram, and there's absolutely no obligation to buy the glasses if you don't like them. They ship free, and there's a prepaid shipping label to return them. Go to this link below to order your own try-on pairs to try on at home. I'm gonna show you guys the frames that I got. I'm trying to be an artsier version of myself. I know, I look super cute trying on these glasses, but if you have an iPhone X, you can try them on virtually with their Warby Parker app. It's a virtual try-on and it's super realistic. I wish I had one. You guys can tell me which one you like the best, but I've already ordered them probably. The glasses start at $95, that includes the prescription lenses, and the lenses include anti-glare and anti-scratch coatings. And they also have blue light filtering lenses now available for anyone who's concerned about the effects of blue light. And one more really cool thing about Warby Parker, for every pair of glasses that's purchased, they provide a free pair for someone in need. Amazing. Another thing I want to point out is that Eric is a very good guy. He's someone with so much integrity, which I really respect. Most of the other guys I dated before just didn't really treat me with I didn't see myself as being worthy of an awesome guy like Eric. So when I got with Eric, I was like, oh my gosh, a relationship can be like this? A guy can be this nice to me? That's cool. And then I went to Italy, and we sort of left things as we really like each other, but long distance doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, I'm gonna be gone. Like, this was not in the plan. This is what is so beautiful about life, is like you can plan to the T, and then it never goes the way you think it's gonna go. I was crying on the plane. I was crying the whole time. I was so sad. I was really gonna miss him. 3 days in, I realized Eric and I are Skyping all the time. This is a relationship. I don't know who we're kidding. So we basically said, okay, look, let's do this. Let's be boyfriend, girlfriend. I know in Europe especially, it's kind of weird to like have that official talk, but in the US, it's normal to have like a talk where you can say, okay, officially we are boyfriend, girlfriend, we are exclusive. And you can watch my au pair video to learn more about how I basically was like not even fully in Italy because I was on Skype all the time with Eric, which I guess like I don't entirely regret because that's how we built our relationship, and I love that the physical aspect was totally taken out of it and we were just getting to know each other. It was really cool. Eric came to visit me in Italy. We spent some time there. We went to Florence, and then we went to London for a week, and it was a really cool time where we were just like, oh my god, finally, I miss you so much. And I should say too that we knew we loved each other pretty much immediately. It was probably during that first 2 weeks when we were like staring into each other's eyes where I was like, oh, I love him. Like, that's a very fast time to know or to say it. So I didn't say it because I was trying to control myself, because I tend to force things a little too much. We got engaged very quickly. I just, when you know, you know. Like, sometimes people get engaged so fast and it's sort of alarming and you're like, watch out, red flag. And I was very young. I was 24 when we got married, but it didn't feel that young to me because it felt so right. And our wedding was way more expensive than I wanted it to be and way bigger, but it was really lovely and fun. And everyone got way too drunk because we told the servers you can offer tequila shots or champagne to do the toast, but they misunderstood us and gave both to people. Sorry guys.